right, and we're back with part 2 of our West Coast special. I'm here, Allison Danger, with my partner in crime for this, Josh Shibata. He's back.
Hey, yeah, sorry about that. Just iPhone can only do so much, but that's an awesome story. Again, I've never met Kong, but I heard she's a wonderful person, very funny, and so that kind of proves it.
Yeah, no, she's definitely funny, but man, I still tell that story like 15 years later.
Sure.
Remember that time you drew those body parts on that poster? She's like, I do. She's great. Now, what I want to kind of switch to is let's focus on some of the up and comers.
Sure.
Back when I broke in, there wasn't a lot going on. There wasn't as many companies happening, but now the West Coast really is seeing a building up of companies. So let's start from like California and work our way up.
Sure. So it's great that you mentioned it that way, because that's exactly when you asked me about this podcast, that's like the first thing that kind of came to mind was that if you look over the history, we didn't have a lot going for us when it comes to women's wrestling. Again, it was a mirror image to how it was viewed in the industry as a whole. And unfortunately, we don't have a Shimmer. Shimmer, I think, is amazing, and why it has such a big fan base is because it's purely dedicated to promoting women wrestling. But that's women wrestling over on the East and the Midwest. There is no Shimmer on the West Coast. But we do have a promotion, AWS, which is run by Bart. Bart and AWS. AWS is the first promotion to really focus on women's wrestling. And from there, and also bringing in women talent from outside of California, it really started to develop and bring attention to women's wrestling. And then also all these other promotions started doing women's wrestling, or at least started promoting women to be not more than just a ballet or a pretty face, that they're actually wrestlers. AWS is the first company in California to have a women's title. So, I mean, they really did a lot. And now we have a crop of amazing women talent that I feel in a year's time, in a couple years' time, will all be names that will be recognized across the country, in my opinion. And the one place that I really think we should focus on is, just like we were talking about the EWF pushing and creating the talent of yesteryear with women. Now today there's a gym called Santino Brothers in LA, which is run by Joey Chaos and Robbie Phoenix, that has a crop of amazing women talent that in the last couple of years has really developed. And again, I think these women are going to become future faces that you see. Some of them you've already seen on the bigger shows. The first one I want to mention is Ruby Reyes, the equal opportunity ass kicker. Ruby, she's actually been a vet for 9 years, but now is slowly making her name. The name says it all. She's the equal opportunity ass kicker. She has a really great brawling style. She does that Joshi strong style that you mentioned that Melissa does. If people want to find matches of her that I really recommend, she has 2 matches with Jessica Havoc. One of them in AWS, one of them in Shimmer, that honestly I think really just epitomizes what kind of wrestler Ruby is. She also has a great mind for the business. She also has a great match last time I went to Shimmer with Saraya. That was just great. But yeah, Ruby is a woman to keep an eye on. She is the current AWS Women's Champion. She is a former PCW Women's Champion. So she's amazing. She is one that I feel within a year's time she'll be signed by somewhere. Another one that is really coming up is Heather Monroe. A little bit newer, but it's great because Heather, and I don't want to make it sound very negative, but when you see Heather, she looks amazing. She has beauty, she has model looks, she is a pretty face, which obviously sells. It's not just for women, it's for men too. You see some of the men wrestlers, there's a reason why a lot of people like Roman Reigns, not just because good wrestler, but for women, he's a good looking guy. Heather Monroe is the same way just for women. But the thing is, within the last year, she has just become an amazing wrestler. Like, she has upped her game so much so that, again, I feel within a year's time, she will be signed by someone because she has everything. She has the personality. She can play both heel or baby. She has the ring generalism. It's great. She's a great talent. She's made an appearance recently in AEW. She's made an appearance in Impact. I feel like she is going to be a star in the future. And she's also the current or recent 2019 SoCal Woman Wrestler of the Year. There's a organization called SoCal Uncensored that kind of keeps track of all the going on in wrestling in SoCal. If anyone wants to know what's happening with all the promotions, or you come to visit California, you want to see what shows to go to, check out SoCalUncensored.com. They have been covering SoCal for the last decade. So we give out awards every year, and Heather was the recent women's wrestler of the year for SoCal. Coincidentally enough, Delilah Doom was the year winner in 2018. Ruby Reyes was the year winner in 2017. So, and they're all from Santino Brothers. So they're all talent that Santino Brothers has. And also, just to kind of wrap it up, the other girls that are amazing in Santino's, Sarah Wolf. She wrestles as Razor in Women's of Wrestling. I don't know if Women's of Wrestling is still around. It was a TV show that was kind of promoting women's wrestling, a offshoot of Glow. But Sarah Wolf wrestled there as Razor. She wrestles all over California in different West Coast promotions. Simone Cherie, she's a recent new Santino Brothers from Australia. She's very talented. She's going to be an up-and-comer. Viva Van is another one who's been there at Santino Brothers for a couple of years. She's the Hellbent Vixen. Those three names, again, all from Santino Brothers, names I guarantee you in the future, you're going to see more of them across the country. So that's of course, Danger, this is someone you know from Santino Brothers, but not a wrestler, but went through their on-air talent program, Alyssa Marino, or formerly known as Kathy Campanelli, former NXT talent. She is by far one of the best female not take female out of it. She's one of the best play-by-play announcers in the game right now. If you need someone to do commentary, I think you should look into Alyssa Marino. She is amazing. Also, too, she runs one of the best YouTube channels called Let's Get Cereal. If you like cereal or want to know anything about cereal, she's the one. But she went through Santino Brothers on-air manager / ballet program. And so she's a product of Santino Brothers. Another great school, if you're in SoCal or if you want to find a good wrestling school, go to Santino Brothers. They're very, very good.
Are you referencing Kathy from HR?
I'm referencing Kathy from HR. Exactly.
So she is the first female non-wrestler on Women's History.
There you go. So you know her very well. You'll
have either seen it by the time this drops, or you're just finding out by the time this drops that she's coming out. But we actually do a Women's History Let's Get Cereal crossover.
There you go.
Because I love her. I love her to pieces. Yeah. She's wonderful.
She's amazing. And again, a Santino Brothers product. So, I mean, and again, just showing that, not just women's wrestlers, but we also have women personalities that are starting to make their name and soon, hopefully, going to be known, across the country. Yeah. But so those are some of the up and coming talents that you should keep your eyes on. Another one, real quick, Vipress is one. She was originally a Midwest talent, but she's come over. She's trained under EWF, School of Hard Knocks, with Jesse Hernandez. She is the current Rogue Tournament Wrestling Tag Team Champion with Priscilla Kelly. She's had some great feuds with Ruby Reyes, another great talent that is starting to make her name. So we have a lot of really great SoCal talent and West Coast talent now. But, again, it's taking a little bit of time. People have been mentioning about this, and you mentioned this at the top of the show, or part one, how the West Coast just seems to kind of get ignored or swept under the rug. But, if you look at AEW, there's a lot of West Coast talent on that show, but people don't realize they're from the West Coast. So hopefully these women will also start to get recognized and start to make their way out across the country. And like I said, I guarantee in a couple of years, a few of those names, if not all those names, will be women that, hey, I know these girls. I've heard about them before, because they're all talented.
Nice. And, with the California scene, we're going to move up the coast, but I'm going to digress
Sure.
for just 1 second because I know people are yelling at their computer right now going, you're missing some names.
Sure,
But
sure.
the current crew that we're starting to talk about, you know who their role models could be? Bailey.
Yep. Yeah.
Formerly Davina Rose from
Right.
West Coast. You got Bailey. You got Shotzi Blackheart making
Yeah.
her name over there at NXT. You got Taya Valkyrie, which some people are like, but she's Canadian, but she worked in
Right.
Mexico.
Hmm.
But she's also considered West
Yeah.
Coast
She
talent.
makes LA her home. She
She
makes
makes
LA her
LA
home.
her home. Another one that I think people don't realize is a West Coast talent, Shayna Baszler.
Yep. Yep.
Baszler.
She trained with Josh Barnett. She used to hang out with us at shows when she was training with Barnett. And I mean, she is, it's one of those people that, yeah, you look at the personality, sometimes you look at her when she has her resting face on and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to sit next to her. But honestly, she is a lot of fun to just
Yeah.
hang around with, pick her brain. She is, once you get to know her, Shayna is a wonderful person to just chill and talk about just anything with her. She really is. She's great. And yeah, West Coast talent.
That charm is legendary, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
when people talk
Yes.
about that Baszler charm and they're like, well,
Right. Right.
what
It's
you meet her,
it's like a
you know.
snake. It's like a snake that kind of hypnotizes you because it's like, whoa, I know I shouldn't be this close because it's a snake, but God damn it, there's something about her. Yeah, no, she's great. She's great. She's great. Another name we can mention as we're moving up the coast, Nicole Savoy, Queen of Suplexes, calls
Yep.
Sacramento her home.
Episode 3.
She is just, oh, she is, again, when there's a person I feel should already be signed already, that is Nicole Savoy. Like
Yeah.
she has everything. I remember, again, AWS. That's the first time I saw her. She came in to wrestle, and I mean, God, she's just her movement around the ring. The Queen of Suplex's name is not just a moniker. I mean, she was just suplexing people out of their shoes, and just a wonderful person to hang around with. She actually got me to have my love of baby otters because she loves baby otters. I hope it doesn't kill her gimmick or anything, but she loves baby otters, and she told me about baby otters, and so now I have an Instagram feed of just baby otters, and that's all because of Savoy.
They're utterly adorable, aren't they?
Yes, they are utterly adorable. So. And then one more to talk about, actually two more to talk about going up north. Again, a person that I don't think a lot of people recognize as being a West Coast talent, Thunder Rosa. Actually started up north in the San Jose area, then slowly made her way down to SoCal. Again, small world. She and her husband were the first people I worked for in wrestling. Their promotion at the time, Sabotage, was the first promotion I worked for. Now it feels like a lifetime ago, but wonderful woman. And little known fact, Thunder Rosa has one of the most amazing singing voices in the world. If you ever get a chance to have her just hum a few bars, amazing. Just
really?
yeah. If you ever get to sit down with her, let her hum a few bars for you. Woo! It's amazing. But she's the current NWA Women's Champion. She made an appearance just recently in AEW. Great talent. She and her husband moved recently to Texas, so now they're Texas people. But again, they make their home. They make their home in the West.
So San Jose puts out better wrestlers than hockey teams, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a hockey fan, I know that the Sharks have not really done much. But,
I'm sending this clip straight to Bailey. I'm gonna be like,
oh man.
I mean, and granted, at the time of filming, the Golden Knights are 3 down.
Yeah, I didn't want to make any mention about that because I saw that. I was like, ooh, okay, because my icebreaker for you would be, hey, Danger, how the Knights going? But then when I saw that, I was like, yeah, maybe better not to make any mention about hockey.
Try not to cuss on this show.
Sure.
Okay, so we're moving up. Now, are we moving out of California yet? Because my geography is not that great. We're moving into Oregon now, huh?
Sure. To be honest, I don't know too many people in the Oregon area, but if we go up, I mean, you already kind of mentioned about Shotzi, I was kind of putting her up north. Though there is a wrestler that isn't recognized too much because she's been on the men's, but Kikyo, the Fallen Flower, you know, honestly, super, super talented. Makes Northern, she's outside of Cal, but she makes now NorCal her home. But she originated, I think I thought it was Washington, maybe Oregon, but she originated up there, now moved down here. But she was going to have a nice little run of her career in Rise, possibly in Shimmer, and then unfortunately had some really bad knee injuries that took her out. And then unfortunately the pandemic hit, so now she hasn't really done much. But I know that she's making her way for a comeback. So when everything kind of comes back, Kikyo would be there. But again, another super, super up and coming talented wrestler. But Kikyo, Fallen Flower, also again a great person to kind of hang out with and shoot the breeze with.
Yeah, she's a doll baby. She's one of my wrestling babies. So yeah, that's what I was going for. I was like, we're moving up. We're gonna hit Kikyo at some point. Now we're gonna go up a little bit further.
Sure.
But I'm gonna stop at the Canadian border.
Okay.
Only because I'm gonna put Canada all together. And I want to really give Canada its dues as I go across. And I know like Nicole Matthews is, for me, the quintessential West Coast Canadian wrestler, but I'm going to save her for the Canadian episode that I'll be doing in the future. So who do we have in Washington? Do we have anybody in Washington?
No, to be honest.
No.
I think Kikyo. I'm sorry, I think Kikyo.
So that means if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you, if you know up and comers in Oregon, Washington, throw them in the comments. If we're missing anybody, throw them in the comments. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, throw it all in the comments, because I know there's people we've missed. And to them, no ill will, simply there's so many names to think about. And I got my list, you know, like I thought about Mia Yim for a second, but Yim and I talked about it. Yim really exploded once she moved east.
Exactly, because I was going to put her down too, and then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, she's actually more of an East Coast person than West. But before she got signed, she did move back to Cali, where her family is, and she had a little run, and then off to NXT.
Boom.
Another wonderful, wonderful. Mia Yim is just so good and talented too. So both. So I'm really happy to see her explode in NXT. She's been doing great over there.
Yeah, and I mean, it didn't take her long to get up there either.
No,
I mean, the work ethic is strong with that woman. I love her. I love her to pieces. And you know, we had a really good conversation at a Shimmer show after she had a match with the current Dakota Kai. He was Evie at the time, and they had a great match. But I was like, there's something I need from you. I'm like, I need smiles for miles. And she made that connection with the crowd, and that's when, boom. I mean, who else went to the Mae Young Classic and had please sign Mia?
Oh, yeah.
Back, and there's a contract waiting for her because, boom, the fans wanted her.
Right,
so, but I'm going to keep her more of an East Coast gal.
Yeah,
that's where, you know, CZW coming in with, what was it, Adam Cole she was teamed up with, right?
Yeah.
Is that CZW?
CZW.
Okay.
Yeah, CZW. Yeah. So.
But she did great with Shimmer and stuff like that, but I'm not going to talk about her anymore.
Sure.
But yeah,
if you don't mind, I was thinking let's move more east. And I mean, we're obviously not going to move too much east just because it's the West Coast we're talking about. But you have a very close connection to Vegas. I have a very close connection to Vegas as well, particularly FSW, Future Stars of Wrestling, a promotion I work with. But there is some talented women over there, and you already mentioned one of them before, but Lacey Ryan, the current FSW Women's Champion.
Yes.
Again, another, just in a year or two, it would be criminal if she's not signed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, obviously, somebody is not seeing something because, again, she is just so amazing in the ring. She is getting to the point where her charisma is really shining through. And there were some matches that I've seen recently with her where she really learned how to kind of play that baby face in peril. And it works. Like, it really does. You want her to win. You want her to win so badly. And it helps being trained by Tom Howard, who is a former UPW, former MMA fighter. Again, another really nice guy to just shoot the breeze with, talk about wrestling. Really nice dude. Both Lacey and Tom are really nice just to talk about wrestling with. And I know she's working really, really hard. I follow her on Facebook, and she's just training all the time with Tom and a few other students at FSW. But again, a girl that in a year or so, if she's not signed, something is wrong. There's something that somebody's missing, because super talented.
My goal is to make sure that she's signed. And really, of the females in Vegas, FSW is the place to be.
Yeah, it really is.
Another promotion there. But you got Lacey there. She's their champ. You got Sandra Moon there.
Yeah.
Came in with Tommy Misfit, Thomas Day, did the yoga gimmick. Now she's really starting to expand. She's young, only 19. She got the world ahead of her.
Super young.
You got Shayna Lazarus.
Maserati.
Yeah.
Honestly, women and men.
Yes.
Anyone that wants to get into wrestling and you need something to study, find clips or videos of Maserati and her matches, or her appearance in the corner of Bugatti, the wrestler she's the valet for. If you want to know how to do heel heats, how to generate really good, I hate you so much heel heat, watch Maserati. I don't think there's anybody, man or woman, in the West Coast right now that can generate heel heat like she can. Like, she is the most hated person in Vegas whenever she pops up. It's amazing how much people hate her. And she does very little. That's the trick. She does very little to make people pissed off, but they hate her. If you want to learn how to do that, you got to watch her. It's amazing how she's at it. So, yeah, there's a bunch of girls in FSW that are just super talented. In a couple of years, again, hopefully you'll hear about them, as they break out.
Well, there's one other I'm going to mention, because she's now based in Las Vegas, but she works for Impact, is Katie Forbes.
Yeah, there you go.
I've had the pleasure of rolling around the ring with her a little bit and working with her. And I love the fact that she is just hungry for knowledge. She wants to learn. She wants to get in there. The few times we've been together, and Melissa connected us, because Melissa's now a Vegas gal. She is about 20 minutes from me. I could probably see her place from my balcony if I turn it right and the California smoke isn't coming into my city.
Sure.
But she introduced me to Katie. She actually introduced me to Lacey Ryan too. And while I work primarily with Lacey, Katie's really building a name for herself, teamed up with Rob Van Dam down at her husband down at Impact, and doing good things. And it's nice to see the women getting more and more TV time, and it makes me happy.
I think what's great is, just in general, you're starting to have the conversations where people are going, which promotion has the better women's roster? Go back 10 years, maybe even go back as much as 5 years, and that conversation really wasn't there. I mean, you would probably say maybe 5 years ago, well, all the women are in WWE because that's the women's revolution. Now it literally is, who has the better women's roster? WWE, AEW, Impact, this indie fed, Ring of Honor. Like, all of a sudden now it's like, well, who does have the best women's wrestlers? It just shows you that the caliber and the quality and the attention has grown so much for women's wrestling, which is great, because again, now it allows us to have conversations like with your podcast and really spread the spotlight to a lot of women that really deserve it, that deserve to, because I always tell people, I respect what wrestlers do because it's not easy. And I think it does kind of suck, just like in any sport, where you're working so hard for a trade, but you don't get much recognition for it. Yep. So it is nice to be able to do that and say, hey, so-and-so is obviously working their butt off and they're just amazing. More people need to know about this person, so that's great. That's great.
That's why we're going to start doing these specials. Oh, you got one more for me?
Sure. One more.
One more.
Actually, I'm sorry. Let's go two more. One more. We're going again a little bit east. I believe she's right now based in Arizona. I think unless she moved to Texas, but Christina Von Erie is a girl that made her name in SoCal at first, but has started to move herself away. But man, Christina Von Erie was just the different type of girl. She came in with the mohawk, the goth look, the punk rock attitude, and it just attracted people's attention. I remember watching her and just going, whoa, she's something different, and she's so talented. She made her name in APW up north, XPW back when that was around, former AWS women's champion. Now I think she's kind of slowed down her career a little bit, but I gotta mention her just because, again, back in the day, she was really doing a lot for women's wrestling in SoCal. And just, I know she's made a few appearances in Impact, but just never really got, I feel, the recognition that she deserves. But Christina Von Erie is one. And then my last one, again, she's not necessarily an LA native, but she now makes LA her home. But the former Katie Birchill, or Katarina Lay, she lives in LA. People might remember her as Winter in Impact. Again, Katie Birchill in WWE. She's worked for WOW. She's worked for Hood Slam, is one of the big promotions up north. If you haven't heard of Hood Slam, Danger, you would love Hood Slam. They're a very big, inclusive wrestling group, very pro LGBT. They are what I feel WWE Underground or Raw Underground are trying to be. This really kind of like underground, little edgy, but party atmosphere. That's what Hood Slam is. It's just a giant party. If you've ever seen any of their events, everybody's having fun. Katarina, I believe, is their glam champion over there. And of course, I should mention that she is the two-time women's Maverick Pro champion. And of course, I manage her over there in Maverick Pro. So I have to mention that. She's part of the greatest group ever in wrestling, the Promised Land. But she is a wonderful person. I've worked with her now for at least like 4 years, and she's just so wonderful. She's working as an actress as well here in LA. But she came in at a time when wrestling was still very diva-ish. But and I don't think she get as much recognition as she should. But she is still super, super talented in the ring, a great mind, great person to work with, just a wonderful person. But so there's Katarina.
Nice. I'm glad you got those names in. So, and again, I know we've missed some names. Swiss cheese brain.
Sure.
We're going on. We had notes. We're doing our best. So if we missed you, our apologies.
We're sorry.
If you didn't hear a name and you want us to learn about it, throw it in the comments. Say, hey, this person, I've seen this person. Let's get it popping, and let's get this recognition, get the spotlight going, and then we'll focus on a different region in another upcoming episode.
Yeah.
Josh, I'm so glad you came on.
Oh, this is so much fun.
I know.
And again, Danger, it just reminds me, sadly, how much I miss you and how much I miss just, Shimmer Weekends, for those who don't know, but, Shimmer Weekends are pretty legendary. I mean, granted, I missed the really legendary Shimmer Weekends. Leva and you guys talk about those. But I feel the ones that I've been a part of have still been amazing. Just hanging out with really great people, with all a common bond that we just all love wrestling. Yeah. Whether it's women's, men's, whatever, we just all love wrestling. And it's sad that unfortunately we can't all be together to do that. But again, if we just all stay positive and just kind of follow the rules and get ourselves there. I'm hoping 2021 we could just start doing shows again. I can come out to Vegas, hopefully with Leva. We could all have dinner, play some, video games and whatnot.
Yes, we'll play Jackbox because she's in it. I got so excited when I heard her. I was playing with a bunch of friends. I'm like, that's my girl.
Yeah. So, but again, it's great that there's podcasts like this now to bring attention to people that really do deserve it. And again, just to show how far you guys have all come along. Again, Danger, I grew up watching you on Ring of Honor. You know, I still think it blows my mind that I can call you a very close friend of mine. And yet I remember watching you with Christopher Daniels, and you just, people are just wanting to kick you in the head, you know, and then, you know, going on the Shimmer where people were kicking you in the head.
and, people, you know, mentioned on this episode by chance.
And it's amazing, you know, and again, I feel when we talk about women's wrestlers, you know, we obviously got to mention you because you were at a time when it was still very small, very niche, and now it's starting to blow up. And who better to talk about it, bring you recognition than the person who kind of laid the ground for it, along with cheerleader Melissa, along with Nikki, along with Candice LeRae. You know, you guys were the ones. Without you guys, you know, I'm sorry. Without you guys, there would be no women's revolution in WWE. That's how it works. You know, people like to think like, oh my God, women's revolution, that was such a legendary idea. But technically it happened 10 years prior to that. It's just nobody knew. You know, you guys were, you know, for a lot of us, the best kept secret that we were really hoping everybody would find out. And now, fortunately, they are. You know, so, but again, it wouldn't have happened without you guys. So I want to thank you for everything you've contributed. Because also too, I know with dating a professional wrestler, how hard that was to the body. And we've talked about it too, but I do appreciate everything you guys have done. So thank you for that.
We're so glad to have you as part of the team.
Sure.
Oh my God. You're making me blush.
Yeah.
So, well, Josh, one thing I like to do is I like to give you this camera. It's just this camera, but you get a chance to plug any social media, any projects, plug your book, plug it all. Go for it. Floor is yours.
Well, I'm not really a big plugger just because the thing is, you know, especially with this business, I feel as a ring announcer, and granted, it's a very important role, but it really should be about the wrestlers. They're the ones that are putting their body and their hearts and their souls into it. So honestly, guys, just find a promotion, find your local promotion, find a promotion like PWG, find a promotion like AWS, find the promotion, see if they're selling videos, buy the subscriptions if they're streaming, go to High Spots, go to whatever, especially now when promotions cannot run shows, or at least shows that are going to be viably compensated for. The best you can do is support them by buying merch or buying videos or, you know, streaming services, whatever. Because every little bit helps. And again, that also goes to the wrestlers too. The wrestlers we mentioned, they all have merch for sale. Find them on Facebook. Find them on their social media streams. Buy a shirt from them. Men, women, whatever. Find someone that you can help support. Because again, without people at shows, it's hard to sell merch when there's nobody there to buy it. So every little bit would help. So help somebody else. For me, you know, as soon as shows come back, I'll be there. I do have a book. It's called Wolf Under Fire. But I mean, again, that is if you really like kind of those romance novels, which involves werewolves and, you know, it's weird. Sure, then go buy it. Wolf Under Fire. Go buy that. I'm on the cover of it. But other than that, really support your local independent wrestling federation. Support your local independent wrestlers. Really help them out. And please wear masks, follow directions, and hopefully together, like I said, we can all get through this. And 2021, we can all be watching wrestling shows again together.
We can hug again.
We can hug again. Though technically, if I did come visit you, I'd hug you anyway.
I would hug you too.
Regardless. So,
yeah. I'd take the risk.
Yeah, same here.
I'm Olaf. I miss warm hugs. But yeah, you were mentioning shirts. For anyone that's watching, I do have a brand new shirt on the Pro Wrestling Tees store. Go to the Alice in Danger store on Pro Wrestling Tees. It's a really cool artwork by McGeeky, who also does the women's herstory artwork for me. In fact, if we can get some sales generated, we would like to present a women's herstory shirt for all our fans. So the more shirts I sell, the more likely I can upload more and get more things popping. So Josh, Shibata, thank you so much. I miss you. I love you. I miss Levi. I love her.
Yeah.
For you at home, like I say every week, wash your hands, wear your mask, love one another, and be sure to come back for another episode of Women's Herstory with Alice in Danger.